All right. What is up? What is up? Let's get into this. We'll give it a few seconds. I'm going to post this video on our YouTube page. I mean, not on our YouTube page. I'm sorry, on the Discord page for everyone to see. If you want to watch the video after it's done, I know I'm going live a little early, but this is about the time I have today. So nothing wrong with a little coffee and talking UFC. All right, let's get into the prelims, the early prelims. We have a couple good fights on the early prelims. Nothing too wild in this card, unfortunately. I know the main card, the main event is, living up to its expectations via, Sean Strickland and Adesanya talking a lot of shit to each other, which we can all appreciate a little shit talk, if you know what I'm saying. But in the early prelims, we got a couple of fights that are kind of I'm looking out for. Shane Young and Miranda should be a pretty solid fight. It's fairly close. I think this one could go pretty much either way. I know we got a guy who has a pretty decent takedown, offense and defense, and is a good submission artist. And then we got Shane Young with the reach advantage, better significant striker. So this one could really go either way. I'm going to lean more Shane Young. I like the guy who can, strike better. It's going to be the all-around better striker. If he keeps it on his feet, I think he can take it. Got a little bit more fights under his belt. Only thing is the height advantage is going to be at a little disadvantage. He is coming off of 3 losses, so it could be tough for him. Kind of rebound back. Let's look at Gabriel Miranda real quick. Coming off of 1 loss to St. Denis. Actually, it's not a bad loss to have because, I mean, St. Denis at the moment is living up to all his expectations. So I might actually change my advice. Maybe I should have looked at this guy first. I think I might switch this up because St. Denis, he's coming off of a massive win. He's on a a few fight win streak at the moment. I think he's 12-1. Yeah, so he's on a 4-fight win streak. So having a loss to him via second round TKO is not crazy. Although he hasn't fought since almost a year, so it's going to be a little bit tough for him to rebound. So, like I said, this fight could kind of go either way. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think. Okay, so yeah, Shane Young is the favorite, but then again, I could definitely see this going either way. I guess we'll just have to wait and kind of see this. This is one of the first early prelim fights that I'm kind of looking forward to see. So we'll kind of see it how this goes. Then we got Blood Diamond and Charles Radke. With a name like Blood Diamond, can you live up to this hype? I know I have seen a couple of guys who are in favor of him. I know his first loss, Jeremiah Wells, coming in against via sub. But then again, let's see Charles Radke. Okay, cool. I thought I muted it. 7-3. Couple extra fights, but first he's making his UFC debut. But he is on a 4-fight win streak, and then 3 of those 4 fights are via, TKO, KO, submission. So I see why he's a -325 favorite, but then again, this could be a welcome to the UFC moment for anybody. So I'm not gonna really have a play for this fight, but I could definitely see Blood Diamond pulling it off. But I think I'm going to side with Radke. UFC debut, coming in, live up to its expectations, keep it moving. And then let's look at the prelims. A couple of fights in the prelims that I like. Nasrat, very familiar face in the UFC, versus Landon. This fight is going to be Landon's first fight in the UFC, coming off of the Ultimate Fighter. As we've seen in the Ultimate Fighter, he lost his fight in the Ultimate Fighter, and then he gets the call to come and fight on this card against Nasrat in the UFC. I'll be quite honest. I think this is going to be a heavy favorite for Nasrat, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, -500 favorite. Yeah, this is a very tough fight for him coming in. I understand he's 7-1, but if he couldn't beat a veteran who wasn't in the UFC in the Ultimate Fighter, I don't foresee him beating Nasrat, who has, a good amount of UFC fights under his belt, who is coming off of a win. His most recent losses are against Dan Hooker and Bobby Green, which is, two pretty good guys to lose to really not make me look any different. And then but he is a decision fighter. Look at that. He's at his last, say 10 fights, almost eight of 10 have gone to decision. So I definitely have Nasrat in that fight without a question. I don't see how Landon gets it done against a guy who's got the veteran experience like Nasrat does. So, and then we got Malarkey Magdesi. I think this one is going to side more with Malarkey. Definitely with the reach advantage. What is a 74-68 reach advantage? So that's always good in any fight going into. And he, significant strikes, and he's got the takedown. So I could foresee him getting it done pretty easily, honestly. Next fight, I'm actually really excited for this. I like watching Jack Jenkins fight. I think he has what it takes to be pretty solid. I know he's on a 12-2. So yeah, he's coming off his three wins in the UFC. And now he's going to get Shepe Mariscal, who I believe just recently fought, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Trevor Peek. Yeah, that's what I thought. He just fought a couple months back against Trevor Peek, which getting that win against Trevor Peek was huge for him because with a guy like Trevor Peek, he could have knocked you out at any second. But I feel like Mariscal held his own. Trevor Peek was just a tough son of a bitch. So this is going to be a brawl, actually. This is going to be a really, really good fight. That actually might be that might be fight of the night. Honestly, fight of the night potential right here. Jack Jenkins versus Mariscal, depending on if we see the same Mariscal as we did against Trevor Peek, because I like Jack Jenkins as well. And, he's got the power, but he also has he'll stand there and scrap. So, and he can go to decision too. So we might honestly see another 3-round decision fight brawl. So I'm really looking forward to that fight. Actually, that might be fight of the night potential right there, especially on the prelims. So keep an eye out on that fight. Carlos Ulbarg and Dewan Zhang. This one is going to be very favored in Ulbarg's way, I believe. Yeah, minus 300, plus 240. He's coming off of 4 straight wins. So pretty big fight for him. He's got three knockouts in a row. If he gets that, he lost against. That's right, Kennedy. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So his last few fights, big wins, big knockout wins, and he's taking on Wu Zhang, who is coming off of 2 losses. I see why this is a favorite, and this is again why I'm not a big fan of this card, because a fight like this shouldn't be headlining the prelims, in my opinion. If anything, I think Jack Jenkins and Mariscal should be headlining the prelims because I feel like this is all around a better fight. But Ulberg, I see him getting it done, more than likely getting it done pretty easily. 9-1 record. He's going to try to make a statement. So we'll see about that. We'll keep it moving. Now we'll get into the main card. Tyson Pedro and Anton Turkalj is starting out the main card for us. The lines have kind of flipped a little bit. I know to start, Pedro was the favorite. Now he is a slight under, but pretty much an even fight in both senses. I think Tyson Pedro has the more experience in the UFC with a couple extra fights under his belt. Yeah, I mean he's got 3, 6, 9 fights in the UFC, and he's lost 4 of his 9 fights in the UFC. So all 4 of his fights have come in the UFC. Let's see who he's lost. Shogun, St. Pruix. And okay, so I mean, not terrible. And then Anton, we got, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dana White Contender Series, comes in, loses his first 2 fights. How he got Jailton Almeida so quick is beyond me. But that was 2 years ago. So, I see this going either way. I think if Tyson Pedro can somehow control this fight just based off experience, I think he gets it done. I'm I'm siding with Tyson Pedro. I just, I like the guy with the more veteran experience. He's going to be more comfortable inside the octagon, and then he also has. Let's see. Give me this right here. Yeah, and he also has the BJJ, like I thought there, and then but we'll see. I think though, if Anton does lose, I don't foresee him getting any more fights. This will be his third straight loss. The only fighter that he's won is going to be on the Contender Series. So if he does, he'll probably get cut, in my opinion. So we could see that right off the lip. I'm going to side with Tyson Pedro on this. I like the veteran experience. I think he gets it done. So, and I could see him getting it done via submission or decision. So we'll see how that plays out. Justin Taffa, Austin Lane, as we remember, first fight, this fight got held off via eye poke. But I do believe Justin Taffa is the better fighter in this. I think he'll manage to get it done, and I think he'll manage to get it done with ease. I think he is a better fighter than Austin Lane. I could potentially see this being a first-round TKO, if not a very early second-round TKO. So I am going to put my first play of the day is going to be Justin Taffa via TKO over Austin Lane. If you want to spice it up and go first round, you can. But I do like Justin Taffa in this fight, and I have since the beginning. So we'll stick with our guns on that, and we'll skip over to Manel Kape and Felipe Dos Santos. This is an interesting fight to me, in my opinion, because obviously Manel Kape was supposed to fight Kai Kara-France. That fight has been canceled God knows how many times. This is like the third or fourth reset, it feels like, almost for Manel Kape. He just couldn't figure it out. So I feel like he just has that vengeance. He has that mindset going into this fight. Like, nothing was going right. Now I have to prove everybody wrong. But he is getting an undefeated fighter in Dos Santos, which is coming off a last minute step up. Kai Kara-France 3 weeks before weigh-ins decided he couldn't fight. So with that being said, I still think Kape gets it done. I think he gets it done via decision. That's going to be my bet of the day for that card. But then again, I could see him finishing in the distance. But I do like the play of going the distance. One being because he was training for Kai Kara-France. 3 weeks before the fight started, he had to switch up. He's going to have to switch up his game plan. So I do think that he gets it done, but I do think this one could be dragged out a little bit longer than we think. But Kape looked interesting, man. At the weigh-ins, at the press conference, he was very intense, very, very pissed off to Kai Kara-France for not getting it done and not getting the fight. How he has a vengeance for Dos Santos, I don't know. He just seems kind of like a supervillain. So we'll kind of see how that is. Hopefully he lives up to the hype, because as we saw last week, the guy who decided to be the supervillain unfortunately didn't get the hand raised. So I hope Kape goes in there and actually gets the job done. I'm curious to see how his career goes if he does get a big win tonight. So we'll see how that goes. I'm taking Kape via decision, and that's my play for that card. And then we get into the co-main, Tai Tuivasa, Alexander Volkov. Big fight for both guys. This win could definitely put these guys in a pretty good situation to where they might get a good fight next, because as we know, in the heavyweight division right now, we're going to potentially lose two fighters later this year, with John Jones and Stipe could be stepping down and moving away, retirement. So that could open up a big gap and a big space for some new, fresh faces to be the face of the heavyweight division, So could it be Tom Aspinall? Could it be Cyril Gahn? Could it be Jailton Almeida? Could Curtis Blades make a new run? Tai Tuivasa, Alexander Volkov. Could either one of these guys really step it up? I mean, you got a guy like Volkov who is 6'7", big dude. So he has the reach. He has the height to be a good, solid champion. The only thing is does he have what it takes? He has plenty of fights. He's, it's not like he's rusty to the UFC by any means. He's been fighting for quite some time. So Tai Tuivasa, as we know, is a stand and banger. He's going to want to stand and bang. The only thing is I just don't know how well that's going to work out when he's got a guy with a 5-inch reach advantage and just ultimately 4 to 5 inches taller than him. So we'll kind of see how this plays out. I think Volkov gets it done via TKO. I think Ty's going to get caught early. He's going to try to stand there and recover from himself. Very similar to the Derek Lewis fight. I just don't think he's going to be able to connect like he wants to. But as we all know, Tai Tuivasa also has the punching power. He has the TKO power. He's gonna come in there and definitely get it done. So if he somehow does manage to get it done, it would be very impressive in my opinion. So we'll kind of see how that works out and go from there. I just realized the music wasn't playing, so sorry if you're in here and it's quite boring. But I was gonna have a little music playing, but it's not playing. So fuck it. If you're listening, play of the day for that card is gonna be Volkov. I did put a parlay together, 2-leg parlay, Volkov and Tafa both via TKO. No round specifics, just both via TKO, and it came out to be like a plus 280 parlay, which is a little 2-legger for plus 280 is not terrible in my opinion for two guys who both have that punching power and both more than likely will get it done via TKO. So definitely want to look into that. All right, and then the main card of the night, the main fight of the night, Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland. As we all know, Izzy is more than likely considered one of the best middleweights of all time outside of, the great Anderson Silva. So he's coming off of this weird storyline with Alex Pieta. He loses, he comes back, he wins his belt back, and now, Pieta moves up, and now there's just been a halt in the middleweight division with a bunch of weird fights. You got Paulo Costa fighting Hamza, you got Jared Cannonier, who should be the one fighting for this, in my opinion. Then you have Marvin Vettori, and then you have a bunch of guys and then Whitaker and Dricus du Plessis, all these guys who could have potentially fought ahead. Sean Strickland gets the bow because Izzy wanted that fight. He called for it, and now he's getting it. The only thing is I feel like Sean Strickland's not getting enough love. I mean, look at this plus 500, plus minus 700 favorite. It's pretty wild for a puncher's chance. I know Sean Strickland is the type to stand there and spar all day. I mean, it's going to really depend on what mentality we see Sean Strickland in. Are we going to see a Sean Strickland who somehow breaks inside the octagon when Izzy just, does what Izzy does? Or are we going to see a Sean Strickland that is pissed off and goes forward and marches and keeps tagging Izzy or keeps trying to get... Can Sean Strickland take punches from Israel Adesanya is the real question. If he can and somehow connects and catches Izzy, we might see a whole different fight. I am a fan of Sean Strickland. I like Sean Strickland. I like a guy who is willing to stand and bang and is not afraid to fucking get in there and get gritty with anybody. The only thing, to play to his advantage, Izzy is not a grappler, so Izzy's not going to try to take this down. He's going to want to strike with Sean. He is losing the reach advantage battle, Sean is, but if Sean can get inside his reach and get inside and tag him up and try to just, he can't spar with this guy, because if he's sparring with Izzy, Izzy is just gonna technically outclass him. But if you can somehow try to land some heavy punches and get him up against the cage, which I don't foresee Strickland being able to, Muay Thai grapple or hold Izzy up against the cage, I don't foresee that happening. But if he wants to stand and bang with Izzy, I think that's his best chance, in my opinion. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like that's the only way he somehow gets it done. And Strickland's going to have to learn to guard his face, because Izzy, not only is he a great striker, but he's a great kickboxer. So there's potential opportunities for head kicks. He could tear his legs up. We're going to really see how tough of a son of a motherfucker Sean Strickland is tonight. And I'm pretty excited to see the outcome of that fight. Unfortunately, I will not be in Discord tonight. So if you are someone who comes into Discord, we have our good close buddy, co-host of the podcast with me, Murky, who just recently got engaged. So congrats to my boy. He's on vacation tonight. I'm going to be a little bit busy this afternoon, so I won't be able to make it in the Discord tonight. So we'll more than likely not be showing the fights tonight. So if you do come in typically and watch the fights, my apologies. We will be recouping next week. We'll all be back in Discord again. The boys will be back, so we'll be showing the fights starting again back next week. Kind of been a busy week for everyone. We paused on the podcast for the week. because of Murky being out, and then the other co-host had some things to do. So kind of just took a break all around. We've been grinding since September, so if you've been following us, we greatly appreciate it. First week we've taken off since we've started, so I appreciate everyone understanding, and we're going to bounce back next week. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, a lot of good breaks coming for each and every one of us, and we're going to be adding a lot of new things to the show. So stay tuned to that. And if you're going to be watching the fights tonight, enjoy. These are going to be my plays of the night. I'm going to take Sean Strickland via TKO at like plus 1,000. So if you want to tell that, it is kind of a lottery. It is kind of a not a favorite pick of mine, but I would love to see Sean Strickland get it done. And then the parlay piece, Tafel Volkov, TKO KO, and then Manel Cape via decision is going to be my plays. And then I also like Jack Jenkins and Mariscal to go the distance. And then potentially even Nasrat via TKO. So thank you guys for following us. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast. We're going to have a lot of things coming down, like I said, so stay tuned. And then hopefully everybody gets out and enjoys the fights tonight if you're going to be watching. I know it's not the best card in the world for a pay-per-view, but if you do find some way to watch it, enjoy it, and we'll see you guys on next Saturday night for some big fights. So I think next week we have Grasa Shevchenko fight night. So be ready, it's going to be a pretty good one. So, and then this card does start at 10 o'clock. So it's going to be it's not a pay-per-view, right? No, it's a pay UFC. I don't think so. I don't think this is a pay-per-view. I thought it was a fight night. Main card, ESPN Plus, 10 p.m. Okay, yep. So we're chilling. Yep. So next week is a fight night. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week for Shevchenko Grasso. Enjoy. See y'all later.